right, so I'm going to take you guys through me designing a week of training for one of my clients, George, who's a higher level CrossFit athlete. Recently competed in Wadapalooza, came 15th, which was phenomenal. Hit a clean PR. So just give you some background so you have some context. He's 25. He's been training for over a decade. He's been to the CrossFit Games twice. And now he's, after a little bit of a hiatus, about 5 years, he wants to get back into competing and see where he goes. He's competitive. He's talented. Works hard. He's got the things you need internally to compete at a high level. So he just needs good training, good guidance, and making sure he's enjoying it. So that's like the really 10,000 foot view of everything. What I have here, and then I'll go into the schedule. This is kind of my rundown from post Wadapalooza, which happened only a few weeks after this video being recorded. And the noticings that I saw work capacity was great, which is something that's his strong suit. The first event went really well, almost a top 5, and then the last event went really, really well. So those are both his top 10 finishes. The last one being very CrossFit heavy, which George just has a lot of experience there. He knows himself well, and he has great muscle endurance for CrossFit. Like, he's just good at the very core concepts and ideas that are behind CrossFit type testing. Like, he's world class. I mean, so much so he came top 10 in the world in the Open in 2019 when he was like 19 years old. So he can work. So that's important for the training we'll get to. But good to know up front. What was challenging for him were the heavier loads, the higher tension movements. So events 2, 3, and 5, heavy sled drag, the 100-pound dumbbell, and the 70-pound dumbbell bench press. So what I classify as like higher tension, heavier loaded movements, those are challenging for him just because he's still young. I mean, he's 25, and he needs to just get a lot stronger relative to his competitors. He has the work capacity. Most of them do, I would argue. He just has to keep getting stronger. And as he keeps getting stronger, he's just going to get better and better comparatively. So continued absolute strength work, bending strength endurance. So he's set up really well to squat. He's got great positions for squatting. He's always been a good squatter. But his bending pattern, which isn't unusual, it's usually quite common, where based upon anthropometrics, some people are set up really well to bend, some people are set up really well to squat. George happens to be somebody who is set up really well to squat, which is great for CrossFit because there is a bias towards squatting. So I have to keep working on building his bending pattern. And then odd object strength development. So for somebody at his level, a lot of the separators at the semifinal level and eventually the games are those odd objects and being able to work really well with them, especially the heavier ones. So making sure he's touching them, he's getting confident with them, he's getting stronger with them. And then these are long-term goals just based off of the Wadapalooza event, which he successfully, in the hang clean, did 325, which I can't remember off the top of my head. That might have put him like 20th or something like that, which wasn't bad. And then he went for 335, which would have been great, because if he hit 335, I think that would have put him at 12th or like 13th or 14th or something, which would have been an awesome finish in that event. But he missed the hang clean. But he hit the clean, which was great. So to be at that level, he needs to clean 365 and jerk it. But at a minimum, he needs to clean 365. And if he's cleaning 365, then from a structural balance perspective, he should be front squatting 405. That'd kind of be the ratio you'd want lined up, and then deadlifting at least 500. Again, lining up close to like, well, what value would the back squat be? Well, then the back squat would probably be 430, 440 range, and then the deadlift, it needs to be more than 500. But for him, it'll probably always lag relatively to the back squat. So we put those out there. We know them, and now it's something for us to aim for. So this is now the new training schedule, because we obviously have the Open coming up, and then for him there'll be semifinal events. So he competed this weekend, came home, gave him some free reign to do what he wanted based on how his body felt, and then I gave him what I would classify as kind of more moderate training for 3 days. And then now this week is a reloading week, so that's where we are here. So we have a reloading week. Then he's going to go into 5 weeks of training, building across the 5 weeks with an emphasis on the priorities that I'm going to outline, and then an easier week after the end of the Open. And then part of how we proceed is just going to depend upon which semifinal he's going to compete in, because if he is going to do this Mayhem Classic early April, then he's not going to have a lot of time after the end of the Open. And so if we do that, then he's going to have like maybe 2 weeks to kind of ramp up a little bit. So I'll probably shift how I write that easy week, because he's going to need to stay on top of things. If he doesn't do that, then the next thing would be that in the affiliate semifinal. So that would give us a good month and a half to train. And so then we'd start working on priorities that are going to be more indicative of that, as opposed to the Open. Even though this next block isn't really aimed at maximizing his Open performance, because he'll easily qualify in the top 1%. It's aimed at developing the characteristics he needs to get better at. So these are kind of our three, because this will be a priority, because I think this might be one of the best bets for him getting to the games, is taking one of those top 20 spots. I believe it's top 20. So we'll be preparing around that. And then he also might do the one in Tennessee Memorial Day weekend. So we'll see. We'll see. So this is our tentative schedule for the next month and a half or so. So the split, this is our split. He's obviously in a reload week. So with a reload week, I'm still using the outline of the new split, but I'll pull back some volume. I'll pull back some intensity. I'll just make it a little bit more digestible, let's say, so it doesn't like smack him in the face the first week. So we'll still use the same structure, but we're just going to tweak it a little bit. So he does doubles Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday is a single session. So Monday, he's doing around the world piece in the morning, and I'll explain why I'm laying it out this way. The PM, Monday PM, Thursday PM are kind of mirror images of each other. Tougher lifting on the front end, and then squatting sets after that. Deadlift sets on Thursday, single leg on Thursday, band resisted GHRs on Monday, and then like odd object strength work with a machine. So without taking 30 minutes to talk about the machine pace and whatnot, we can just think of the bike at that speed, and then the row at the speed I'll be plugging in over here as additional intensive contractions that work alongside the movements we're working with here. So it's just more contraction volume that's intense, and the tension's high, and he's working really, really hard. And then Tuesday morning, increasing effort cyclical sets. So this allows me to control the amount of intensity he's doing in the session while still making it feel challenging. So even his note here, held the paces. Last minute was hard, but I wasn't dying. Felt in control of time, was pushing into the lower range for all of them. So that's good. So it's challenging, but the amount of intensive volume is manageable. We're looking at like 9, maybe 12 total minutes of pretty tough work, which is pretty good considering he did almost 30 minutes of total work. So that's a great way of controlling the intensity, especially with somebody like George, where I have to make sure he isn't too tired when he goes and lifts weights and tries to get stronger. Otherwise, the stimulus and the dose he's going to get from it is going to be really dampened, which isn't great. That's not going to help because he needs to get stronger. So we have to bias for that. And that's why, I might as well just say it now, that's why this morning session is just an easy session, because it'll make him feel good. He'll move blood. It'll warm him up so that when he goes in the afternoon, he feels strong, he feels ready, he feels like he can lift a lot. If I gave him tough intervals here, which I have in the past, and you can, it will influence this session a little bit. He will be a little bit more tired. He might be a little bit more depleted. So that's something we have to consider when, again, the goal is like needs to get a lot stronger. So everything needs to be biased around that. Wednesday's off. Then Thursday, we'll do extended intervals. So I'll explain those. That session, Friday, around the world again, because he just did 2 tougher sessions. So then I balance that with an easier session. Then he has a upper body like strength session. So the intensity is not too demanding, but it's a lot of good contraction volume he needs. And then Saturday is a tougher session. So let's get to writing this. So what I'm going to do, because last week I used the same kind of outline I had here, but again I tweaked it. So I can just take all of this, I'll copy and paste. So this is going to go to, so I have 1, 2, 3, so it's 30 minutes of work. So I'm going to do 2, 3, 6, 9, so we'll do 3 sets. So notice how last week 2 sets were smooth, 3 were a little bit faster. So now this week I'm going to increase the amount of intensive work he's going to be getting. Repeatable pace. So I use that language, means I want the person pushing it, but not to the point where they can't repeat the effort because they're going to be doing multiple sets. If they can't repeat it, then they're pushing it a little too much. So these are like extended sets, 1-to-1 work rest. This is a great way of building muscle endurance, building volume, especially as we're getting closer to competition. I like using this style of work. So 60-second row calories, second rest, 60-second. And I usually do like MGW, so I'll do cyclical, gymnastic, weightlifting, and then I'll do that multiple times. And we'll do burpee, box jump over 24 inches, no rebounding, rest, 60-second. He does this at home in the garage, so I have to be selective. I think he can drop bars. Let's take a quick peek just to be safe. No heavy singles. Yeah, so he can drop bars. So we'll do power snatch, 35 singles, 60-second rest. And so I'm going to repeat this sequence. Echo bike. Let's do 1, 2, 3. That's 6 minutes of burpees. That's too many. He doesn't need to do that. We'll do double unders. You can do power, clean, and jerk. Oh, I need some squatting in here. But I don't want to give him pistols. It's a little aggressive. So 3, 6. So that's 18 minutes of work. Let's go like this. And I'm going to go ski. And we're going to do... I'm changing. See? This is what we do. We go box jump set down at 30 inches. Double unders. Burpees to 6-inch overhead. This is going to be squat cleans. Perfect. So now 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 36 minutes. Okay, good. So that's 18 minutes of work. Perfect. And then I'll go 12 cals. We'll go 8, 4, 12 cal EV, 8 air squats, 4 kettlebell swings. Nice. That's good. And then PM, moderate to high reps. Let's see. So yeah, I still held it back a little bit. Power into squat, and then pull into squat clean. So I'm gonna go 3 sets, 3 sets. 1 squat clean times 3 sets. Rest 1 to 2 minutes. And he said it felt really good, so I'm gonna bump it up a little bit. 215, 225, 235. Yeah, we'll go even 225, 35, 45, 55, 60, 65. Start at 270, add 0 to 5 pounds per set. So that should feel good. And then last week I went RDLs just because, again, it was getting him back into training, but now we're going to go back to, now we're actually going to do deadlifts. So he's going to deadlift, and he's going to do 5 reps, 2 minutes times 5 sets. 15. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go reset between reps. Choose around a 10 RM weight. Use across all sets. So moderately tough, maybe a little bit more moderate tough, but more volume based, and then the recovery is a little truncated. So it's good. It's going to challenge him a little bit more, which is what I want. And then single leg moderate. So I'll progress this. So we're going to do 12 for 3 sets, increasing per set. And then what I'm going to do this next week on this session. So when I have this kind of set up, I'll start possibly with an EMOM format, separate things, make sure there's enough rest. And then as the weeks go on, I'm going to extend out the work intervals that they're doing. So I'm trying to extend the power demand for these movements, challenge them further that way. So he's going to go first 10 cal row at 1500 calories per hour plus, how many did he do? He did 4, 4, 6, and he did 8s. So, well, he's going to do 6 now. And then second, same thing. And he's going to do, that was front rack walking lunge. I want to do the 6 arm DV overhead walking lunge. I want him to practice with the 100. Perfect. So volume is very similar, but I'm extending the work intervals, which is good. It's very simple. It makes it a little bit harder, the priority movement, which is the odd objects, but it's not enough to like smash him. So that's good. So notice that the AM is very work capacity heavy, and the PM is very strength training, weightlifting heavy. Good polarity. Super important, especially with people who are trying to get strong. Really important to separate the work capacity from the strength work. If you really want to bias it, you can do it where you have work capacity here, but usually doesn't work out that well in my experience. So this was the easy session, which for something like this, the progression I'll do is I'm just going to extend the carries. Super simple, doesn't need to be complicated, and we'll keep everything else the same. That's it. Actually, you know what? Just to be creative, we'll go like this. I'm going to go crossovers. And we're going to do walking lunges. That's it. Doesn't need to be any more than that. 4 rounds, no issues, good. So we'll go 5 rounds just so he gets more practice. This is going to be very linear. So he's going to go, how many sets? He did 4 sets. So I'm going to go 8, 7, 6, 6. Increasing per set. So a little bit heavier. And then 8, 7, 6, 6. Rest 3 to 4 minutes. Increasing per set. Just strength training, getting strong, upper body. And 15 pounds, 10, and 8. So yeah, that 8 to 10 reps is a lot for a weighted strict pull-up. That's okay. Again, it's the first week. This, we're going to do, well, I was going to do 30 burpee ring muscle-ups, but I'm changing my mind. I want to keep the handstand push-ups there because it's a tough movement for him, and I want him to keep practicing that. So he did 25 handstand push-ups and he did 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He did 36 muscle ups. So we're going to do 21 kipping handstand push-up, 15 ring muscle up, 9 burpee ring muscle up. That's 45 reps. So he did, what did I say? He did 25, and then he did 36. So, but see, let's do, no, I don't want to do that. 12, 6, 6. If I do 12, that might be too much. So let's go, we're going to do, that's better. I mean, it's a lot less muscle ups, but he did 36, I said. Let's go 24. There we go. That's better. Because these muscle ups are good, but I'm trying to really challenge his triceps, which becomes a limiting factor in the kipping handstand push-up to deficit, that lockout. So that'll be good. And the volume's similar, which is good. Like I want 6 to 9 minute range where he has to work pretty hard, and then this I'm just going to add one set. I'm going to keep things the same, let him progress it as he wants. And then this I'm just going to do, this is going to snatches. I'll go like that. You can power as long as you want. And then 205 divided by 285, that's about 70%. He did 230 for a single, 70%. So we'll start with 175 would give me a final weight of 220. That's a bit heavy. So we'll go 165. And then that gives me 205 as a final weight. That's good. So can always, better if airing a little bit lighter. And then this is warm up into like an open style event. So this is like his real big CrossFit type day workout for the week. So we're going to do, I want to do squatting. Let's do, let's do the rowing wall ball. And then 6 rounds. 6 rounds times, bear with me as I do my math, 108 reps. That's pretty good. 6 rounds for time. 18 wall ball. 18 cow row. Super simple. I just wanted him to get some squatting in. 10 wall ball. And 5. What I'll do sometimes if I'm giving people like an open workout like this, I'll just give them a little warm-up piece. Actually, let's just do 5. Just to get warm, feel the movement, feel the pattern, and then be able to hit it. So this is, it's not the same because the actual event from 2019 was 15-minute AMRAP. So, and top scores were getting over 10 rounds. So this is, let's say 60%. So this is good. Just like push it. That's 108 wall balls. That's a good amount to build from. And then it'll also be good for me to see like how it goes, how fast he goes, how his legs feel, how his knees feel. So yeah, I like that. That's good. Let's do that. And then now this is considered week 1. So let's do, we're going to go 30-second right arm dumbbell hang power snatch, 50 pounds. We'll go 30 seconds single unders. We'll go 30 seconds left arm hang power snatch. We'll go 30-second crossovers. And then we'll go 30-second right side plank, 30-second right leg Russian step up. These are just, like I said, around the world. So I usually like to bias isometrics, body weight movements. Sometimes I add in an external object, external load, I should say. Just depends what the person needs. 30-second right arm, Turkish get up, 50 pounds. 30-second right leg glute bridge. But it's just a good way to move blood, breathe, kind of get warmed up. And again, most important for him, it doesn't get him tired for the PM session. He feels good because I want this session to go really well. So moderate high percentage. So now that we're getting into the progression, we don't need to do all these sets. So I'm going to have him go one snatch pull to prime his extension. We'll go 4 sets. He's going to start at 170, 75, 85, 95, 205. And then we're going to go 1 squat snatch. Rest 1 to 2 minutes. 205. So he's going to start at 210, 210, 215, 220, 225. Yeah, that's good. Because that'll be, he hit 265 a few weeks ago. So 225 is 85%, which is, yeah, it's good. Let's, yeah, it's conservative, but that's okay. It's week 1. We need to get ahead of ourselves. Then this is linear 5 reps, 3 to 4 sets. The percentage is going to be 76 to 80%, and so that was 325 divided by 0.76. So it was operating off like a 415 back squat, so 415 times 0.8. So it's gonna go 325 to 335. So like 76 to like 81%. Rest is needed. Actually, I'm actually gonna give him. He's gonna go rest 3 to 4 minutes. And then these, never done with the band, so I'm going to leave this so you can build upon it. And then again, like I mentioned, 200 times 8 sets. Same thing I did on up here. I'm going to go copy. But he's going to do 12 cals. And he said 4, best touch go 4, and lunges. So let's go 6. Actually, I'm going to give him a range. See if he's feeling frisky. Go 4 to 6. And then second, he's going to do I'll just give him a range. Because then did he say 4, right? Yeah, 4 and 4. 4, 4, 6 per leg. Yeah. So gives him a little, because he's doing 12 cals now, so you know that might change things, but little autonomy to figure that one out. Okay, for this session, I'll keep the prep the same. So the way I progresses, I'm just going to extend out the interval length. So instead of 3 minutes, now we're looking at 4 minutes. And he said last pace was hard, wasn't dying, pushing into the lower range for all of them. Lower range. Okay, so then what I'll do is I'm going to just drop this a little bit just to be safe. And that should be good. Because I don't want it to be too much. Only in week 1, got to make sure there's some space. But yeah, and then the rest will stay the same. Don't need to change that. And then for this, so this is going to get a little bit more demanding. So 5 sets, because this past week was pretty nothing too crazy. That doesn't make sense at all. 1 minute rest. This is what I wanted. Start at 185 at 0 to 10 pounds per set. So that puts me at 225. Start at 225, add 0 to 10 pounds per set. That puts me at 265. So now we're taking up. But again, 0 to 10. So if it's not feeling great, then he can jump by 5, or he could not jump at all. So most clients will always jump, the full amount. But that's why there is a range, so it gives them the opportunity to assess how they're feeling and make a good call in that moment so they can set themselves up for success the next week. And then, I know there's no prep or anything because George is a pro and he knows what he needs to do to get ready, so I don't need to give him something there. And we're not dealing with anything too. If he had some scap or neck issues, maybe we would do something different, but then again, we wouldn't be doing this probably first also. So important to remember. These AMRAPs non-complementary 4 to 6 just means I want to extend it out a little bit. So for this one, I'm going to stick to the 4 minutes, but we're going to go like this. 4, 4, 4, bring muscle up, but I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Power snatch at 135. So 4 minutes, 6 rounds would be 24 muscle ups, 21 snatches. Yeah, so that's a good amount because then we got to double that. So that's 50 reps. That's good. So that's nice. And then for here, do something similar. I'm gonna go 6, 6, 6, 6. Strict handstand push up, and then I'm gonna go 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. Overhead squat 135. Because remember, it's non-complementary, so I want to make sure that the two patterns are working against each other. So obviously hanging, pulling, hip extension, pressing, stabilizing it. And this is grip base 4, 6. Let's go. No, we do 8. 8's fine. Chest bar, and then 3, 6, 9, 12. I think power clean. Oof, that's gonna get really grippy. That might be a little too much. Maybe, but I want to use the bar. It's fine. It's okay. He'll be all right. He'll figure it out. And then for this, we're gonna go low incline. This is just like upper strength support work. Low incline, stationary. Actually, I don't want to change that. We're just gonna leave it alone. Build on last week. That's perfect. Don't need to do much there. Stuff like that, I always have to kind of hold myself back because more often than not, especially if it's the first week or the second week, you don't really need to change it much. You just leave it and then let them work within the constraints to progress it. Because if we make a huge jump real quick, it's like, well, you're not going to capture all that you could get from that. So I leave it. I know he didn't fill it out yet. Let's assume he's more conservative this week because it's the first week. There's probably a lot of room left for the next week. Maybe the next week I change it. Maybe I leave it alone. And then the week after I then change it. So that gives him 3 weeks to work within the supersets to get some great adaptations. So hold yourself back from wanting to change that. Okay, so that's it. I know, 34 minutes. Sorry it's a little long, but I hope that was insightful. And thanks for watching if you made it this far.